Hey everybody, this is Jordan from PictureMonk.com and welcome to episode 52 of the PictureMonk podcast. This podcast is a tiny bit different, like they always are, apparently, because as you kind of remember from last episode, having to send in the camera that I usually use to record these, and so now I'm kind of going with the iSight camera from my Mac because I still don't have that camera back, and so I could use my Canon 60. I could use that to record it, but it's so tough when you don't have that little articulating screen, and that would be really helpful in times like these. So I'm sticking with the iSight camera for this episode. Hopefully I'll get it back next week. Hopefully I should have it next week, and so we can get back to the regular viewing angle that we usually do. And quality, because this is crappy quality. So I was going to use my GoPro right here, but it died on me. I actually recorded about 10 minutes of the podcast, and it died on me. So I had to go back, and I'm doing the re-recording right now. So yeah, here we go again. But you guys don't know that, or you didn't know that. No, I told you. But let's go ahead and get into the first little segment of the podcast. I normally put the news, news stuff at the beginning. But this is not really a news thing. I'm probably going to change that. I'm probably not going to call it news anymore, because it's rarely ever news. But this is just some cool thing that I found. And it is the world's most talented photographer. Or the internet's most talented photographer. Let me take that back. Internet's most talented photographer. It's a sort of a mini TV show that was done by the guys at Digital Rev TV. They have a YouTube channel that you can find at PictureMonk.com/PMP052. They have a YouTube channel there, and I've linked the all 12 episodes of the show. And basically, it's kind of like a reality show. It's like a Survivor for photographers. So if you ever watch the Survivor, they do challenges, and each one of the guys gets kicked off at the end of the week, and that's sort of how this is. So what they do is they give out tasks during the week to these 12 photographers, and then they have to do those tasks, make a video showing, them creating that photo and how they did it, and then they submit all of that to the professional judges, and so they do that, and then they get booted off. The worst one gets booted off, and then they keep going and going and going. So it's a really fun show. It's pretty funny because the guys at Digital Rev are pretty funny. So that's why I like their channels, because it's entertaining, and it's just fun to see the kind of cool stuff that they do. Like that TV show. So you can check that out again at PictureMonk.com/PMP052 and see all 12 episodes there. I kind of stumbled upon that recently and just thought I'd share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and get into the main topic. That was quick. I usually have a listener question of the week, but now I got 5 listener questions that I'm going to go through. So I'm going to finish up these, and these should almost zero out my inbox, because some of the questions I just wrote back to the person. So if your question wasn't featured here, most likely you got an email from me. If you didn't, then let me know. So let's go ahead and get into the questions here. And the first one is from Stacy Bassler, something like that. And she says, actually, it could be he, I have no idea. That person says, what is the one thing you regret when starting photography, if anything? So the first thing I kind of regret, or it's probably the only thing, is not looking at quality over quantity. That's a big thing now, I think. When I first put like a website up there, and super noob at this whole thing, I was like, I need to get as many photos as possible. I don't care if they're fantastic photos. I'll put the fantastic photos at the beginning, and just put a bunch of filler photos in there. And so what I would do is just kind of edit the same photo a couple times and throw that in there, because I wanted to get 50 to 100 photos on there to make it look like I was actually doing stuff. But really it kind of hurt me. So I would I would have people look at this photo and be like, "Oh my gosh, look at that photo! It's the same thing as you've been doing," and it all shows it's all the same photo pretty much. So I don't know. I kind of think I should have concentrated on the quality instead of just throwing a whole bunch of photos out there. That would have been probably the smarter thing to do. But you kind of live and learn, and that's just kind of what it comes out to. So that's the one thing I would kind of concentrate on, Stacy, is to make sure that you're really trying to produce art, I guess, is how I kind of try to look at it. I want to make art. I just don't want to take a photo and just edit and be like, boom, hey, done. I want to make art that stands out. So thank you, Stacy, for the question. And let's go and get into the next one, and that is what promotional items would you create to advertise your photography? And that one is from Harrison W. What promotional items? That's a tough one because there's a lot you can do. A lot of people don't do print stuff anymore, and being from a graphic design background, I really do like print. I want to print as much stuff as possible. I want to print as many photos as possible of mine, but I don't really have the wall space to really accommodate that. So, what would I do to print, or what would I do to advertise my photography? I'm actually working on a book right now, and it's a custom book that I'm kind of gearing towards real estate stuff, and so that book will be just a big compilation of most of the real estate stuff that I have, and a little bit of the personal side projects, and kind of showing that the stuff I could do for somebody. And those books are going to be like a softback book, couple pages, probably like 20-ish pages. Intersplicing full photos, like a 2-page spread, to maybe a cropped square photo or something like that. So I'm kind of still working on that, but I'm actually doing that now to try to send out to hire in real estate professionals in the area, so I can try to get some business from them. It's about $15 to $20 a book, so I really got to be strategic in what I do, because I don't just want to throw books out at everybody. And another thing I'm probably going to try to do to help with the cost of that is make it a sort of an ebook format. So that way, those can be sent out to the I don't want to call them lesser end real estate agents, but the normal guys, the guys that have a small 1x1 or something like that want you to go in there and take a quick couple photos. I'm not going to send them a big book, but I'm going to make like an ebook format so I can quickly just send them a link and they can pull it up and check it out there. So I'm going to make that look really nice. And what I'm actually going to do is show you guys that. I'll actually make a video of me doing that stuff so you can kind of see that too. So Harrison, that should be able to help you out a little bit. Still in the workings of that, because I got a lot going on right here as far as that goes. But yeah, I'm definitely going to make a video of that so you guys can see it. Let's see. The next one, I'm kind of running through these pretty fast. I don't really mean to run through them pretty fast, but this might actually be a shorter episode than normal. Let's see. This one is from a Dave Weth. You sent me an email and you told me how to pronounce your name, and you said it sounded like Beth, so I'm going to go with Weth. It's a W-E-T-H. So Dave said, what are your thoughts on stock photography, pros and cons, do's and don'ts? I actually have a couple stock photography photos. I kind of started doing that way back in the day, probably like 2 years ago, and I just kind of went with iStock, and let's just say it didn't really pan out. I meant to put like 400 or 500 photos up there. I had a really good idea to put all these photos up there. But I don't know if you have went through this yet, but the quality check system that they have, I think is lacking, or it might not be lacking now, but it was lacking then. Because, for example, when you sign up for stuff like that, this is how it was when I started sending stuff in. You send 5 photos in, they critique them, and they make sure that they're high quality. They don't want to let anything crazy slip through. And they critique them and look at them. And if they don't like the photos, then you have to send more in, and you have to wait like 30 days or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but they sent a couple back to me. They said that they were pixelated and not high quality or something like that, or some of them they said were over edited, and so I would send more back. And one, this is kind of what lost me. One I sent in, I can't remember. I think it was just like a beach photo. I sent that one in, and they said that was good for the quality check thing, and so that allowed me to actually put the photos out there. So then I put that same exact photo back in to actually be on iStock, and they kicked it back because they said it was not high quality. And at that time, I was shooting with an 8 megapixel camera. The photo was amazing, I think. Not to toot my own horn, but it was a pretty good photo, and it wasn't pixelated. I know that for a fact. So I don't know what they're looking for exactly. Now, you mentioned that your passion is bird photography, which let me go give a shout out to Dave here, because I usually don't, not because of any certain reason, but I usually don't promote people's photography on the podcast. But I loved Dave's username, or his URL for his portfolio. So if you want to go check that out, go to daveshootsbirds.com. I just thought that was awesome. I got a good chuckle out of that. And I saw some of your stuff, and it looks really nice. But if you're thinking about putting that kind of stuff up there, I would just make sure, I would maybe if you have your raw files again, go back and sort of re-edit the ones that you want to put on the stock photography sites, and just kind of keep the edits clean. Because from what I found is that's what they're looking for. They're not really looking for stylized edits. They just want to make sure that you have some sort of, contrast adjustments, highlight, shadows, maybe a bit of clarity and vibrance and stuff like that, and then done. They don't want anything fancy. So I would do that, and I would also try not to put those same photos on other stock photography websites, because then you would kind of be devaluing your photos. And the reason I say that is because if you put some on iStock, they charge a different amount than someone like Shutterstock or Dreamtime or Graphic Stock. They all charge different rates. So I would kind of stick with one and try it out and see if that works. And if it does work, then keep putting stuff on there. And then if it doesn't work, try another stock photography site, and you may find more success there. I would definitely put as many photos out there as you can, because that's the only way you can really make a good amount of money doing that, is just having tons and tons of photos out there. I think I have 3 photos, and one photo is actually of the Empire State Building in New York, and I think I hit it at the right time, because that's when I think it was Katrina hit New York, and they were looking for photos, and so I put mine out there, and I think I got about 20 downloads of that photo within like a week, and so that was actually really good. But again, 20 downloads of that photo probably equaled to about $6. So that's kind of what you're looking at. So just grab as many photos as you can and throw them out there and see what you can come up with. So thank you, Dave, for the question, and I'll probably be sending you another email here in a little bit. So let's go on to the next one, and this one is from Nick S. And he says, just bought a new flash from your recommended gear section, and now when I take a photo, I see a black bar on my photo. What am I doing wrong? Let's see. Let me first off by saying this. A lot of people don't know that I have a recommended gear section, so if there's actually something that you guys are kind of searching for and you kind of have a toss-up, I do have a recommended gear section at PictureMonk.com/gear, and you can check that out there, and there's it's kind of separated into categories. I'm still trying to update a lot of it, but most of it is stuff that I still would definitely recommend. So let's see. What are you doing wrong with the bar? Most likely, if you got the flash that's on the recommended gear page, you got the YN560 2 or the regular YN560. It's probably because you might have too fast of a shutter speed. Those are not high-speed sync flashes, and they're not supposed to be. Those are just like a regular little flash units. If your shutter speed is right above 200 or 250, I believe it's 200. If it's above 200, you're going to start seeing a bar creep up. So if you're watching the YouTube channel, you'll have a bar here at like 200, and then you have another bar here at 250, and then it kind of keeps creeping up, and soon you're just going to have a black photo. And the reason is the flash fires, the maximum sync speed for the flash is at 200th of a second. And so when it fires, it's putting out that light, but the shutter is too fast to capture that light. So when you take the photo, you need to have it below 250th of a second, and that will allow light to actually hit the sensor. So that black bar you're actually seeing is the shutter in the camera that's going up or opening, and it's not letting enough light in there. So that's what that is. I hope I explained that right. But basically, what you're doing wrong is your shutter speed needs to be below 200th of a second. As soon as you knock it down to like 180th or 150, something like that, you're not going to see that black bar anymore. Then you can start working with your exposure and get a right exposure there. The high-speed sync flashes, those I don't really recommend because I don't see any point in them. There's ways to get around it and not pay that extra money. But the high-speed sync flashes, they actually do a really quick burst of a flash. So it's boom, 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 like that. So when the shutter opens, it's always going to have light there. So that's probably what it is. If that's not what it is, then you might have to have someone look at your camera. And if the flash is firing, it's probably not the flash. But just check that out, Nick. If you are still having issues, please feel free to send me an email. I'll try to help you out as much as I can. So the last question is from a Ron Bassler. Wow. I had a Stacy Basley and a Ron Bassler. Oh, that's kind of cool. Ron, yours is, how would you recommend getting started in drone photography and videography? I pulled this question too, and that was because I have a friend who owns a sushi place. Who actually, if you follow me on Instagram or I think I posted on Facebook, I can't remember. But if you follow me on Instagram, I actually took a picture of some sushi that I had on Saturday, and it was amazing. But I have a friend who owns that place, and he's really, really big into drone photography. Oh, let me go and give him a plug. It's actually Toshi's Cafe. That's what it's called in Greensboro, North Carolina. So if you know anybody around there, tell them Jordan sent you, and you get everything for the same price, but he'll know that I sent you. So let's see. He's really big into drone photography or drones in general. He built his own drone from scratch. He's got a couple not model airplanes. They're actually regular little airplanes, that remote control airplanes that he flies around. And he bought a GoPro and straps them to the bottom and stuff like that. So he's really, really big into that. And so I was asking him about it because I kind of want to start to get in there, into that field. But he recommended just kind of buying the smallest drone that you, because I'm not in that field yet. I want to learn. So he's like, I would recommend buying the smallest drone that you could find that's a decent quality. And he said probably a price range of about $100 to $300 is probably something that'll be beneficial to you. And he said most likely if you have a GoPro, it would still probably be able to carry that GoPro. So that's good. But he said check out something along there. Maybe go to a local hobby shop. He talked about some in the area where I live. And so maybe go around there and see if they have anything that's sort of small. And because I've seen him fly, and he's really good at it. And he said he's crashed his so many times. and he wished he kind of would have started out small like that. So I would definitely recommend getting a smaller drone and kind of working from there. But one thing that I have heard is that the FAA is kind of really cracking down on drones, especially because there was a video of a guy flying his to like some crazy, like 1,100 feet or something like that in the air, something nuts, which is illegal, by the way. They're really cracking down on drones, because even if you register your drone, it takes a while to get it registered, because you have to register it, it takes a while to get it registered, and you can't really put any commercial use video up without having it registered and approved with a flight number and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a mess right now. It's for me. I want to look into it, but probably not buy anything anytime soon, because I want the FAA and the government to get their whole situation. Ooh, hit my mic. Get their whole situation worked out and figure their stuff out before they put any more laws in place. So yeah, thanks Ron for that question. That's what I would definitely recommend, because I'm asking a pro, and that's what he says. So that's it, guys. That's the questions for this week. So let's go and touch on the widget of the week here for this one. And this one is actually sort of a self-promotion. And the only reason I say that is because let me go ahead and find it here. I put an article out a while back when I had to send my camera into Canon to get it repaired. And so I'm actually trying to pull up the exact link, so I'll kind of talk through this a little bit. My Canon camera was broke, and I had a huge mess on trying to get it corrected from Canon, and there was a bunch of hiccups, because the website said one thing, and the person, the rep on the phone, was saying another thing. You needed to have this form but not this form. And so sorry guys, I'm still trying to find this thing. I had it pulled up a little bit ago, but then my computer shut down on me. There it is. So they were saying that you had to have these forms, and if you bought it from this person, it's not insured. If you I bought my Canon camera from eBay, but the person on eBay, or the company on eBay, was a preferred seller of Canon cameras, and so I had to talk with them about that. It was just a big mess. So what I'm actually promoting here is because I had to read my own article to send in this camera for repair, to make sure I had everything. And it's the article is titled "Sending Your Canon Camera in for Repair." So I can't talk about Nikon, but I can talk about Canon. And so the article is called PictureMonk.com, or you can find it at PictureMonk.com/Canon Repair. And that'll kind of walk you through, if you ever have to send in your Canon for repair, this will walk you in the steps that I used, and what you definitely need to do and what you definitely don't need to do. So yes, I would definitely recommend that if you ever have any issues with your camera. Most likely, most of the stuff still works with Nikon as well, but all the forms and stuff, or all the hyperlinks that I have, are linked for Canon, so it doesn't really do that much good. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for the podcast this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Sorry for the crappy camera angle that I got, and sorry my GoPro died, because it was a slightly better camera angle. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me, and thank you for rating the podcast, subscribing. Thank you for sending in emails. I always love hearing from you guys. And that's about it. I'll see you next week for actually, I'll go ahead and tell you what next week says. Next week's podcast is going to be Weird Ways to Improve Your Photography Part 2. I actually did an article or a podcast about that a little bit ago. I think it was the second one for the new year. So that's becoming a really popular podcast. So I'm going to do a part 2, and I got a couple more tips for you guys. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys next week.